So I guess this is where we talk about, did Specialized finally make an e-bike that can convert people who were hating on e-bikes to e-bike lovers? Oh no! It is getting rowdy. The bike is handling it really well. What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to sunny, beautiful Southern California. I know you guys are probably thinking to yourselves, Mo, what are you talking about? It doesn't look sunny. I promise, it was sunny about an hour ago. I don't know how fast this fog rolled in, but with that being said, the show must go on, and we are finally ready to talk about the Specialized Turbo Levo SL, a bike that we recently were able to get our hands on. We've been putting it through the ringer, and we're finally ready to talk about the stuff that we love about this bike, the stuff that we might not love as much, and some things that we really do wish we could change. Maybe we would change it in a later video, but also who this bike is for and just what this bike is all about. So without further ado, let's get into the review of the Turbo Levo SL by Specialized. The Levo has always been the Stumpjumper version of an e-mountain bike, and the Levo SL is basically the lighter weight version of the standard Levo. I know a lot of people, when they think e-bikes, they're thinking heavy, they're thinking clunky, and Specialized definitely wanted to change that. So what they ended up doing is they ended up kind of sitting down with a focus group. What they found out is a lot of people were willing to sacrifice a little bit of power, a little bit of that battery, in order to get a lighter, more nimble style e-bike. So basically what Specialized ended up doing with the Levo SL is they ended up taking the battery, cutting that in half, taking the power, cutting that basically in half. So you have a smaller, lighter motor, a smaller battery, and an overall smaller, lighter e-mountain bike, which is pretty cool. But with that smaller motor and that smaller battery, another thing was able to happen. Specialized was actually able to shorten the rear chainstay as well. They were able to make that a little bit more compact because they weren't dealing with so much going on in the motor area and the battery area. Now, some of the key things on this bike is similar to the Stumpjumper: 29-inch wheels, 150 millimeters of rear travel. And if you guys are also probably looking at the bike, you're probably like, Mo, that's a really weird looking bottle that you use, water bottle. That's actually not the water bottle. That's a battery range extender. So it's basically some extra power in this bike that you can bring along on your ride if you choose. You're able to hook that up to the bike to get a little bit more juice on there. Before we get into the whole nitty gritty of the review, what we like, how it compares to the Levo, what we might change later on, let's take you guys for a ride. We're gonna time travel a little bit back to when it was sunny and not whatever this is, because I feel like this is straight out of a horror movie. Let's go for that ride now. All right, we are at Santa Monica in LA, and a lot of people say LA sucks for cycling, but it really doesn't. But I think that's the whole joke.
Where's that joke stem from?
I think it comes from like a Jersey company. If you guys know where LA sucks for cycling comes from, the hashtag, let us know in the comment section. I am trying to chase down the kook. She's putting down a good time. I got mine in the turbo. Are you in turbo, Hannah? She says she's in QOM mode. I don't think those QOMs count, but we are making our way. She says she's joking. I don't think she is. Now, I will say we have tested out a few e-bikes out here, and it does feel like you are still putting in a decent amount of work on these. It's almost like, I heard a really good example. I think it was given by Pink Bike, that rather than getting pushed by two hands, someone's pushing you by two hands, they're pushing you with one hand.
So going back to what Mo was talking about earlier with kind of the analogy, like the one hand, two hand thing, I do really think that how much you're gonna like the Levo SL kind of depends on your riding style and what you're trying to do with it. If you're gonna be riding it with other e-bikes, like the other day we rode these SLs with people who are riding standard Levos, you do have to put a little bit more work in, but I kind of see that as a good thing. You get a little bit more of a workout in.
All right, time for the downhill. So this is a trail called Scorpion in the Santa Monica Mountains. A little bit of everything, including really loose dirt. And I'm really excited because there are some up and downs. Here's the first up. And e-bikes really do make these undulating trails. Is undulating a word? Undulating trails really nice and fun. Woo! Don't really remember what's coming up, but I do know that it's rocky. Oh! Yeah. Oh no! Offline, but it's okay. We're still going up. One thing I do like about this bike is the chainstays for it being an e-bike are a little bit on the shorter side. So you have a nice responsive rear end as well to kind of go with that whole trail bike nature of the bike. Woo! Oh my God, I can't see. Oh no. Oh, it is getting rowdy. The bike is handling it really well. Couple of more sections that are nice and tight. No problem whatsoever. I'm gonna not try to jinx it though, because I think we got a little bit more. Oh, yeah, I love this trail so much. Made it out. How was it?
So good.
I think I'm ready to head to British Columbia. What about you?
I mean, yes, but we can't.
Yes, we watch this. 3, 2, 1.
That's not a thing.
Oh wait, why are we still Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoy that ride. If you ever do have a chance to ride your mountain bike in LA does not suck for cycling. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the Levo SL. This is probably one of the most nimble e-bikes I have ridden. It really does go to show you how much weight does factor into the overall ride. It is a noticeable difference from the standard Levo that Specialized was offering. We ended up riding that at Crankworks last year. You definitely feel the weight savings. The bike just feels a little bit more lively, nimble, a little bit more towards how normal pedal bikes feel. Like I said, they were able to shorten those chainstays, and you definitely feel that on the trail. This is starting to feel like a proper trail bike. So if you guys can tell, there is a Fox 34 up front. I did feel like that was an interesting choice on Specialized's end. I personally feel like I would go with a Fox 36 if I was sticking to the Fox. I feel like there's so much potential in this bike, and I feel like having a stiffer fork would definitely enhance the shreddability of this bike. I'm not sure if shreddability is a word. We are running with it in this review. So as I mentioned earlier, on the Levo SL, they did end up making the motor and the battery about half the size as the standard Levo. And that is a noticeable difference when you are climbing. So you don't get that full-on punch of power like you do feel like you have with the Levo and other e-bikes on the market. You definitely have to work for it on this bike if you want to put the same speed as you were on the Levo. As Hannah mentioned earlier as well, we ended up riding with the folks from DVO. They were on the standard Levos, we were on the Levo SLs, and we definitely noticed ourselves needing to put in a little bit of extra work to kind of match their speeds on the climbs. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for from e-bikes. I feel like there are a lot of riders out there that are willing to sacrifice a little bit of power to get that lighter bike. I feel like this was a huge goal that Specialized had in mind when designing this bike, or at least I think they did. I can't speak for what they had in mind, but yeah, I feel like this is that bike for a lot of riders out there that maybe were struggling with e-bikes, either the weight or the power. I know I've heard from a few friends, and also Hannah as well, that one of the common complaints with e-bikes is they almost feel like they have too much power, like they're never in the turbo mode just because it feels like you're gonna loop out. This thing, it almost feels like it's just enough power to kind of get you going so you can keep a consistent cadence, but you still have to put in the work, especially if you want to match the speeds, like I said, of your other buddies that might be on the standard Levos. And I also noticed you are able to get that heart rate where you want on this one. Now, with that being said, I don't think everyone is looking for this. There were times throughout the ride where I was like, you know, I'm on an e-bike, I don't necessarily want to work as much as I'm working right now. I think I want a little bit more power. So for me personally, there were times where I wanted the standard Levo, but I also saw the benefits of this one too. And I am pretty blown away, especially when I cut the motor when I am climbing. I don't feel like it's that far off of standard pedal bikes with no motors, because like I said, the weight is still relatively light. So I guess this is where we talk about, did Specialized finally make an e-bike that can convert people who were hating on e-bikes to e-bike lovers? And I think the answer is maybe. I feel like a lot of people who may have had either a negative stigma on e-bikes, or maybe they haven't found the right e-bike for themselves, or maybe they've never tried an e-bike. I do really feel like this is a really good transition step for most people getting into e-bikes, or actually the perfect solution for a lot of people who may have tried current e-bikes and think they're either too heavy or have too much power and still want the feeling that's very similar to a normal pedal bike, but just a little bit of help to help them go further or faster or longer. But yeah, I really do feel like Specialized did knock this one out of the park, so shout out to Specialized. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this review of the Turbo Levo SL. As always, you guys, if you hit that like button, it helps out the channel a ton. If you want to help support the channel, we do have merch, awesomemtb.com, to pick some up. And with that being said, until next time, you guys, ride awesome. Woo!